Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I've been wanting to talk about psychics in particular for quite some time, but it just fell behind when I was setting up this iteration of the show. Now, psychics. I'm not going to tell you they don't exist. I'm going to tell you that, well, let me get into it. I've dealt with a few people that claim to be psychic in my life. I've dealt with tarot card readers, people that claim to read your mind, and it's surprising the amount of information they can come up with. Some of it is just people doing dry reading. I can do that. I can look at you for the first time and I can tell you, I'm sensing there's a conflict in your life. And I've had people tell me the most personal information, and I have to stop and say, I'm not really a psychic. I'm just, dry reading you. And there's other people that can do it. They can pull something deeply personal out of you. Instead of me building the story, and I'm looking for that, they're able to say, oh, your grandmother's not well. All right, I gave you no feed-in information about that. That's interesting. The only thing I think psychics cannot do is look in the future or in the past. Well, maybe the past. But in the future, they're terrible. Think about in all the years, um, Sylvia Brown, for example. I don't want to defame her name, but I just want to say, how many times did her future predictions come correct? This doesn't mean she wasn't a psychic. It just means psychics are incapable of predicting the future. Ed Dames, that big event he was always saying was right around the corner. Well, he's still living. We're still living. That big event hasn't happened yet. Thank goodness. Well, he claims he's not a psychic, he's a remote viewer. But remote viewing is supposed to be able to see into the future. We get this in the news all the time, too. Some relatively famous person says, in in 20 years we're going to have this, or Bill Gates famously saying no one's ever going to need more than 64 kilobytes of memory. Even average people can't get things right. I make predictions on this show from time to time. They're based on evidence and what I see and what I feel is the most likely to take place. I don't think anybody's going to have a nuclear war. I stand to be corrected, and hopefully I never am. But this isn't some deep psychic vision, it's just my feeling. They'll threaten it, but nobody wants to be remembered as the person that took out the planet. We turn to psychics because any time life has existed, things have been confusing. If you're a farmer, why are your plants not growing? You're watering them, you're taking care of them. Well, it turns out that the soil is wrong, but the psychic or the dowser or whatever you choose to indulge in can only say there's something wrong with your soil. That's because that was the terminology available at the time. They didn't know it was deficient in this or anything like that. They did nail the problem, but they couldn't explain it. So what does the farmer do? Does he dig up all of his soil? Does he rip it apart and replace it with new soil? That's up to you and your interpretation. Kings and queens and emperors and all those things. They've always wanted to know, will I live forever? Is there a way that I can make sure that my dynasty survives forever? For the more realistic ones. And the answer is the psychic doesn't know. They say, oh, you are a great and powerful king, and your name will be remembered for your deeds because you're Genghis Khan. It's not quite the way he anticipated it, but that's the way it goes. Psychics, again, they're taking a snapshot of time at the present and then extrapolating from it. That's simply the way it is. But they're very good at interpreting things, interpreting people. I should mention, I'm not talking about the ones that either plant people in the audience ahead of time or they go interview them ahead of, they have somebody, one of their friends interview them ahead of time and then magically the psychic knows, oh, you have a mother with this, that, the other thing, and yeah, I'm talking real people that can honestly sit there and read a situation with a better detail than they should be able to get through normal results. My eyesight sucks. You would not trade your eyes with mine in a million years. My hearing, my sense of touch, my sense of smell, fantastic. So I notice things that other people simply don't. My wife made a special water bottle. It was so she could water her seedlings that she's taking after with all the love that they deserve. Now, she left it somewhere it shouldn't have. I'm going to tell you, she left it on the liquor cabinet. And the next day she had lost it. And she was upset because she put a lot of work into it and everything. But I remembered out of the corner of my eye, I had seen it. And I didn't pay much attention to it at the time because yeah, it's the water bottle. It's in the house. It's not outside. It's not in a garbage or anything. And while she was upset, I said, "No, I know it's somewhere here. Give me some time and I'll find it for you." And about 2 days later, I found it for her. Well, I used a trick. And that is, I turned off all the lights, put my my phone on my light on my phone, and that way I find it focuses everything for me. And I found it. Now, what I figured she did, she was in one of those moods where she's just happy and flighty and going around doing this. So she put it down because right there was something else she wanted to do. And she's watering plants. You can fill that thing up any time. So nobody did everything wrong, but she thought I was psychic. How did you find that? How did you know it was there the whole time? And I said, just pure luck. Now I could have built this into something and ooh, I see the future and she's smart, but sometimes I can fool her. But I chose not to. I chose to be honest. There's other people who were never there. And I've seen this. And there's two types. There's the scammy ones who want you to believe that they're all powerful and have secret things going on. I was with a psychic once, and this is how devious she was. And this is not a good person. If this happens to you, just walk away. But we were sitting in her house, and we were. I forget there was other people there too, but I forget her and I were in a disagreement. It didn't need to turn hot or anything. It's one of those stupid opinion things. This is back in the 90s, and we weren't really upset, but at the same token, it wasn't a friendly. Well, it was friendly, but it wasn't the most enlightened debate that you're going to have. That's what I'm going to say. And all of a sudden, outside the window, right beside where I was sitting, pop! This light appeared, kind of blew up, and then another one blew up a little bit later. And she said, "I'm getting upset now. You better say that I'm right." I said, "I'm not saying that you're right. I'll agree to disagree." Then it happened again. She said, "I'm psychic. You better agree with me." And blah, blah, blah. Fine. Whatever makes you happy, it doesn't change the world. Well, later on, I found out she had planted miniature fireworks. Don't ask me what they were. I was never an expert on them. And she had blown them up just so that way it could seem like she had some sort of weird power. Now, if I had been sitting anywhere else, I don't know what other tricks and stuff she had set up around her house, and I never saw those go off again. So I don't know whether it was psychic, but all the evidence points to not psychic. At the same token, when I hear people describe near death experiences, astral projection, that would be a fun subject. Wish I'd ever done it. But all those things, I'm inclined to believe them. And psychics, yeah, I give you a chance to talk in the present. I just don't believe your predictions. Um, Astral projection people, they don't tell you what's going to happen in the far future, and you know, your great great grandchildren will build a new pyramid or any sort of crapola like that. No, they'll tell you what they experience. And like I said, the psychics that I don't want to use the word believe, but the psychics that I trust are the ones that don't mess around with future dates and stuff like that. They do what they can do, and that's the end of it. Um, Psychic healing, eh, I'll give them a pass because at least they're trying to help people. In their mind, if they're trying to do it and it makes the other person better, I don't care scientifically what happened. It made the other person better, even if it was a placebo effect. Psychic surgeons, again, we're dealing with people, they are putting on a show. And the difference is when you start with a religious show or a belief, you're definitely making progress. You're moving towards encouraging a person to use their internal um, repair systems, and with that, it's making a difference. So again, a psychic is working in the present, not the past, not the future, but in the present. And that's essentially the message for today. Psychics are real, just don't believe their predictions. They might come true once in a while, but it's no more than chance. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I always appreciate getting messages. If you like this show, please click the like button. Share, because sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to click the notification icon down below so that way you can be kept up to date with every single episode, which comes out every day at about noon. Usually, we do have days off. And we hope you have a fantastic day.